to
Yay!
to an outstanding, beautiful energetic we create for all souls that are being called, even if they don't know it yet.
Amen. Aho Ashe. Welcome,
Ashe.
welcome. Let me see where we are live. I want to see. Yes, I see myself where I want to see myself.
That's all that's ever asked.
On my Facebook page. All right, let's give people a minute to just come in the space. Oh my god, I'm so excited about this. I'm going to share the link just to make sure everyone knows where to find us. Hello, welcome. Yes, I see some activity. Yay. Hi, Katja.
Katya's here.
Katja's here.
Beautiful.
She is looking for, let me make sure that everyone is on the right place on my Facebook profile. Yes, I can see people are at the event, so I'll just make sure to come here. Give them a sweet landing.
A gentle.
Yeah. We are live here. All right. Let's just take a moment to breathe in this moment. And I was just tuning into this first activation, Avalon Activation. And the thing that I feel most resonant is that it's a now portal. It's a portal beyond time. It's beyond words. It's beyond the thinking. The heart chakra of the planet. That's what we're connecting to. And it's calling us home. It's calling us home. Whatever home is for you, I want to say welcome. Welcome to the series. Wherever you are, let us know where you're watching from. Where on the planet? We're on the same planet, and there is this now portal called Glastonbury Avalon. We're going to talk about it, help you connect with it, hear what it has to say to you. You are welcome here. Yes. And today I have here our Avalonian guardian, Aaron Glassman. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Daisy. Nice to see you there. Nice to see you here.
Yes.
In
the
this
now portal.
The now portal.
Oh, it is now, yeah. So I want to say Avalon stole my heart, but it actually gave it back to me. It didn't steal it. And I want to talk about, from the calling to where we are now, it's a whole journey. And I know some people heard of Avalon, some people have been traveling to Avalon, but I really want us to come into the now and connect to it in the now, and also check in with you and me where we are now. Because the world now is on fire. The world now needs not just leaders, but like human beings connected to their essence and the inner peace and the inner joy and the higher frequencies. And that's all that's available in Avalon. And this is kind of like my way of paying back, giving back to all that I received in Glastonbury. And I was like, of course, I have to start with you because the last time I was there was with you, and it was so well. I'll share that later what it was, but it was a deep, 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 deep healing when it comes to being in my feminine essence, and that's what I want for everyone who's watching. Deep healing, deep, deep healing, and that's what you're offering in May.
Yeah, well, yeah. Beyond May, I'm always available for deep healing. But thank you for creating this and an opportunity for us to share about this place. Even if the thing is we're all being called on planet Earth. We're all being called, and some people haven't had the realization that this is a time that we're living on planet Earth where there really is no more kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out of your life, or you're on the fence, you're in this in between. The energetics that are happening and taking place on the planet are so powerful in a process of ascension and a process of kind of a de-evolution, if you will. The vortices of energy are amplifying at such an intense rate and speed that there will be no longer the opportunity to say, well, maybe not now, maybe sometime in the future. We're all being confronted into this now. Like, hey, now is your time to create a choice to hear and respond to a calling.
Yeah.
And that calling is the heart. If you decide that you desire to align to that ascension process, that can only happen through the heart. And so, the heart is where we access our ability to receive and give the divinity, the presence, the loving presence, God, whatever you want to refer to it as. And I have traveled all over the world, and Avalon, Glastonbury, is the one place that I have continually returned to for over 23 years and have been probably 60 times, because home is where the heart is. And there is this alignment that takes place no matter where you are on your journey. There is this new alignment that just, recalibrates you. It transforms, heals, activates you like nothing else. And that last time that we were there, that was the highest frequency that I had access to in that time and place. It's always been there, but the more you return, or the more that you allow yourself to receive it through the work, the more palpable and powerful it is. And it was extremely powerful for me, and it informed me coming home in a whole new way. It set me off on a whole new way of teaching and new material to teach. So yeah, that's what we're calling people to.
Yeah, I am very curious about 23 years ago, because it starts with the calling, and everything beyond that, I call it Avalon's mystery, because you don't know what you're going to receive. And like, what happened 23 years ago? How was your moment of calling and saying yes or no, or how did it go?
Well, it actually goes back almost 30 years ago, where I left my life and I went on my spiritual pilgrimage, left being an actor in Hollywood, was miserable, and I left and I backpacked around the world. And the first place I started um, was London, and then I began to make my way up to through Northern Europe, Northern England. And I had bought a British rail pass, and I had started using it and started making my way up, through Avon, Stratford upon Avon, and all of that. And they never checked my ticket, so I was already kind of in the northern part of England, and I thought, well, you know what? I could change in my ticket, get a refund, and I'll rent a car. And so I rented a car, and I started really just, visiting all of the northern England. And it was a profound time in my, it was huge, because it was the first time in my life I was not knowing where I was going to go. I wasn't tunnel vision. I was just in this opening. And I remember the full moon in England, and I remember the music that was playing. And I didn't even know what was happening to me. I wasn't like intending to have an awakening, but this was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. And that was back in 1990, God knows, 95 or 6 or so. And so the reason I'm mentioning that is because then about 6 years later, England was just on my consciousness. It was like nagging me. I couldn't get the images out. They just kept coming. And I'm like, what's going on? I feel like I have to go to England, but where, And I didn't know. I just said yes. And I went to London, and I'm walking around London looking for a sign, and going on a boat down the Thames, and somehow I just landed on a computer, and I typed something in, and I saw Glastonbury, and I knew immediately. I go, that's where I have to go.
Wow.
Rented a car once again. I arrived after 6. The high street was empty. I didn't know anything about where I was. The guy comes out from seeing a guy talk who said he was the reincarnation of Jesus, which there are many when you go to Avalon. And I said, can you tell me where the island of Avalon is? And he goes, you're on it. But when I arrived there, I knew I was home. Like, there was something that I was feeling that was so deep, and it was so like soul affirming, life affirming. I was home, and that was my calling. And I fell in love, and it doesn't make any logical sense. It never does, there are more romantic places to go. Avalon is in the middle of the English countryside in the southwest of England. But the energy, the power, the feeling that you experience, and I experienced being there, was one of a returning home. And I felt so at peace and so much joy and lightness. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. For me, what really resonates with my personal story is the deep knowing. It's like you can't explain. I was reading a book, and I read about Avalon, and I just felt like I have to go there. And I was like, but what is it? I was like, I don't know. I have to go there. Like, where am I going? I don't know. And I learned that, like, oh, it's like you have the goddess temple and the goddesses, Celtic god. And I was like, I'm a Black woman. It doesn't make sense that I want to go to England.
Right. How can I?
That makes sense.
Yes.
And as soon as some events happened that led up to me going, and as soon as I came onto the high street, it was open when I arrived. The first thing I saw was the African Goddess Rising card deck. Yeah. And I was just like, this is for me too, which is the heart chakra. The heart chakra is open to everyone. But I personally feel that just by thinking about the yes or no, something is already activated, like the deeper topics, like me feeling, do I belong or don't I belong as a Black woman, is something that's a deeper conversation. But also like Christian upbringing, do I belong there or do I not belong there?
Right.
And it just showed me where I am afraid and conditioned to be
Hmm.
who I truly am. And it was like this loving mother calling me home. She's like, "Come to me, darling. I'll show you who you truly are." Right. And well, I've been 3 times since then, and it's it has been so healing. It has
Yes.
been such a, like, I started with the portal of now. It just, like, veils lifted, the mist went away, and it just was this space to just feel who I truly am without the conditioning, without being the mother, the wife, the entrepreneur. It was just like who I am as a human being connected to planet Earth. And wow, 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 wow. Even when I'm here, and it's like just knowing that there is this place on the earth you can always return to gives a sense of safety, a deep sense of safety. So yeah, that was a mystery that I didn't even know existed on this planet, and I'm so happy we're here for those who do know, but also for those who don't know yet.
Right. And, we had people that were on our last journey, they didn't know what they were saying yes to. But when they arrived there, it all kind of clicked for them. It all aligned, like, oh, I do feel this. Oh, I do feel like I'm returning to some, so everyone's calling is different. Some, maybe it's an unconscious yes. I don't know what I'm saying yes to. I don't know.
Hmm.
Not everyone has to see a goddess, calling them home to the heart. But I would love to share with whomever is watching, because I'm always posting pictures of the Glastonbury tour,
Yeah.
and to me it's so obvious, but I'm like, I go into the mindset of, like, people see this, they who don't know anything about Avalon or Glastonbury, like, well, I'm looking at basically a big hill with this tower on it. Like, what is that?
Yes. What is that?
And so, Glastonbury Avalon is the Glastonbury tour is its center, and it
Mm.
is the vortex. It is a magnetic vortex like no other place on the planet. They've actually measured the magnetism, and it is the most magnetic place on the planet. And that's more than the Great Pyramids. That's more than Machu Picchu. And the reason that's important, or the reason that that is the case, is because the heart is the magnetic field. It is the magnetic energy that we experience. So what you're looking at is this kind of an enormous flatlands where Glastonbury is. It's called the Somerset Levels, the county is Somerset,
Mm.
and it's all just flat fields. And then all of a sudden there's this mound that's 1,800 feet, above sea level, and they refer to it as the pregnant, goddess, because it is filled with this life force giving vortex energy that transforms, it heals, it activates you, and it unifies you with divine, multidimensional self.
Yes.
So the invitation is to enter into that portal, into that vortex. And once again, I have spent, days and days. And I've spent, I'm sure, like you, you just hours and hours up there. And, everybody's like, all you hear is laughter and joy. And
Oh yeah.
I've
Nice dance
never,
party there.
yeah, I've never heard anyone bicker or quarrel, or, and there's people flowing in and up all day.
Yeah.
Um, and that is like what feeds me, and it replenishes me, it charges me, so I
Mhm.
can maintain the frequency of the heart in my day-to-day life.
Mm. The first time I traveled to Glastonbury, I was on the Pregnant Hill. I love the way you said that, because it's so full of energy. And I I've never shared this in public, but I was on a retreat, and after the retreat, I just felt like this voice, like, come to the tour, with the sun, with the sun rising.
Mm.
So I was there like 5 a.m. and the women asked me like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I don't know. I have a date with God. I don't know what I swear I feel I have." And I was so excited, like like I had a real date.
Yeah,
Well, it
good
was a
idea.
real date, but it wasn't like a physical one. And I went up there, and it was like there was so much mist, and I just
Mm.
sat there, and it was so clear, so clear. Daisy, your soul agreement was to go down there and help them remember. But you yourself went under the mist and you forgot yourself. It's time to
Mm.
remember. And I was just like,
Mm.
I felt that so clearly, like,
Mm.
oops, I forgot what I came to do here on planet Earth. I'm sorry, but thank you for the it's just so clear. And I was like,
Yeah,
yes, I was caught up in the mist myself. And that's the power of that vortex, because it was like I had to be on the tour to receive that message and
yeah,
have it so clear. Yeah.
yeah,
And it was a beautiful sunrise too, but it was the message that I really had to receive there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
also, and that is something I would love to talk to you about. The second time I went there, and I was really standing like in the middle of the tour where like the energy is just, how it
Hmm.
moves there, right?
Hmm.
And I just felt like it was like this wind just coming back, like pushing me back and saying, "You need to stop, open up, and receive. Can you please let me penetrate you?" And I was just
Mm.
like, "Okay." I think I can learn that, but it was so clear. The clarity,
Yeah.
if you're open to receive, I guess, is beyond words. I don't know what it is there, but it was really that they say the ley line, the Michael
Michael
Archangel,
Marylines. Hmm.
yes, and the Mary.
Hmm.
There's like this cross section, the
Yes.
sacred union, and I have been on retreats before in activating the divine feminine within myself, and I first met you in
Hmm.
Hawaii, and I I was just in my ceremony, and you just came there and you just sat there and you just look at me. And I felt like my 1 year, 2 year old, 3 year old, 4 year old, 5 year old, 6 year old, and 7 year old Daisy, they all just felt like, I can finally share my truth. And like, oh my God, I feel like all this stuff came out. And I was like, and this happened and that happened. And you were just And later, I realized that what I felt in your presence is just that safe, divine masculinity, that there's someone there to hold me and hold my truth. And it just came out.
Yeah.
And that, who you are, the source point of the safe, divine masculinity, in combination with the sacred ground of Glastonbury,
Mhm.
which I experienced in October, is just like surreal, the level of support you receive if you choose to go there and receive the medicine that's there for you. And for me, it was just such an activation in both masculine and feminine. I had some father wound things that I had to heal. Um, and I wonder if that has been a conscious choice, to integrate the sacred union, or if that's just what comes together because of the ley lines. Like,
Mm.
how do you see that people can heal or strengthen their inner masculine feminine union
Mhm.
traveling to Glastonbury with you?
Well, yeah, the vortex, the portal, this place where we get to access the heart is multidimensional. The heart is not limited by space and time, and the heart is where
Mm,
there is neutrality and oneness. And when we access that oneness, that wholeness, right, is when we really experience our power. You know, because there are individuals who are This is the Buddha saying, if the string is too loose, the string won't play, and if the string is too tight, it'll snap. So there's the ones that embody a lot of beautiful feminine energy, but they have a challenging time in the physical world, walking a path in the physical, right? And then there are those that just walk in the physical, they run on the physical path, but they have a disconnection from feeling, from their heart. And what Avalon and Glastonbury does is it creates this opening in that heart center where you can expand into wholeness and oneness at a much more deeper, profound level. And of course, then in traveling with, because so many women do come or couples come, and I've had the honor of working and supporting many, many women. But like you said, whenever these two polarities are coming into one is where we experience the transcendence. It's where we have the awakening. It's where we get the deep healing. It's where we get the transformations. So, I've had women say, I like you were saying, I've been on so many women's retreats. They're beautiful. Nothing is like a bunch of women dancing and coming together, but there's so much healing in having this kind of strong, heart-centered masculine energy there that let me actually open and receive at a deeper level, at a much more profound healing level. Because my God, I mean, 9 out of 10 women that I've worked with all have a masculine wound and trauma, sexual trauma or abuse, and to be able to just be an anchor for that, witness it, healing, is tremendous. And Avalon is the perfect place. The heart is obviously the place to really open into and receive that energy into. So, it is like this trip is an intentional journey to deepen into awakening, healing, and transformation. It's not a sightseeing tour. While we do go and see everything, we are calling forward those earnest spiritual, well, everyone's spiritual, but those earnest seekers that understand the days and times that we're living in. We're not going to experience any change in our life through the same level of being or consciousness that has created our existing present conditions in life. That it requires, our time right now requires this quantum leap, this evolutionary leap into a whole new circumference of being. And we require to have these intentional sacred journeys in order to facilitate that in self. And that's what this is about. This is about aligning to that vortex that's going to have us ascending into a higher dimension of our being so that we can be that in our everyday life. And that, of course, is what creates change in the planet. That's what the planet doesn't need it. We need it. We need it, and divine mother, father, goddess is just calling us now more than ever.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I want to share this text that came through the other day connecting to Avalon, and I'm inviting you to just receive it with your heart and feel whatever is the most potent message for you now, because the only time is now. And let us know. Let us know what really resonated in your heart. It's called Sacred Motherland. And it was kind of like just a tribute to Avalon. Sacred Motherland. You called me, you healed me. You love me, you hold me. You are the heart of the world where love is undeniable, and you bring flow into where the love stopped flowing. You reconnect us to what we forgot, to what and who we are. to how we communicate with you, to your presence, to your word, to your magic, to our word, to our magic, to our divinity, to our humanity. You are a portal of calibration to our true essence. You are a mirror of our deepest pain, our deepest love, our deepest power, and our deepest fear. The magic is mundane, and the mundane is magic. Oh, Avalon. You showed me that I am an African goddess and that I too get to lay down my burdens. Thank you for your persistence in calling us back home so we can remember to open up to love always. Sacred Motherland, thank you. Yeah, it's
Did
really a
you?
portal to remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's a remembering to, for me, it's like it showed me that I do say African goddess, but when I was there, I just felt like this whole conversation about color, it's beyond that because it's about humanity and oneness.
Yeah.
And, colorism is just a way of separating. So I myself had to overcome that. Yeah, that was the biggest healing of our last trip.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Light refracts into many colors, but it's still all coming from the same source. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
And yeah, the Glastonbury tour is the vortex, and what conducts that energy, that powerful heart centered energy, are two sacred springs that originate so deep from the earth they cannot locate their origins. And
Mm,
they pump out thousands of gallons of healing water a day. One is the red spring, which is rich in iron, and the other is the white spring, which is calcium rich. And this is what conducts energy. And those springs, the relationship to the intelligence and the healing powers of those waters is also another beautiful facet to experience. And I have such a reverence for water, and so much so that I think it was the third time I'd been there. There was another American there. There is a cottage that sits on top of the White Spring and
mhm.
has the wellhead on the property, and it was coming for sale, and I knew I had to get it so that one day we could restore the White Spring more to its natural state.
Yeah.
So I am involved with the resurrection of bringing the White Spring back to above ground. But right now, you
Mhm.
get to experience the White Spring like in this cavernous space, and it's very womb like and very healing. And people have tremendous healing experiences and activations there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you were with me when we entered in and seeing who, the people there. And it was just this energy, like, it was so like just an unbelievable confirmation of the beauty to be human. Like, I don't know. It like seeing people absorbing the energy of it, being there, being so connected to it and reverence to it. It was really like very breathtaking for me. It was like so beautiful.
It's the reverence that um, stood out for me because you just walk in and you just feel the energy, right? Like there is this side where you can sit with the horned man, and then you can sit here with more the feminine energy. But then there's this healing water that's like gifted to us, and you just see like something happens when they you have when you walk in, you have to kind of adjust your eyes because it's all of a sudden it's so
Mm,
dark, and then it's kind of like,
yeah,
and it just takes over.
yeah,
Whatever needs to happen happens.
yeah.
And for me, the first time, that was the biggest one. Like I left the White Spring being a different woman.
Yeah.
I was not the same. I felt so much lighter. I was smiling, and I was like, I forgot that I wasn't smiling. What? You know, like it was so rejuvenating, and I was like, wow, it's so special. And I saw that with the whole group as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw just the whole energy was different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So much. So we spend times with the waters there as well, and we certainly incorporate them into the healing and the experience. What will we experience in May? Did you
Yeah,
just put that in?
I just put that in. I was like,
All right.
you're
Yeah,
in there, and
I'm in there.
you're in there.
So what you're going to experience in May is, I can pretty much guarantee a breakthrough, a transformation, elevation of frequency, of vibration, a healing. Uh, and we do that in throughout 6 days and 5 nights. So we're going to have 6 days together, 5 nights in this beautiful complex of Old English and New English cottages that are at the entrance of Avalon. It's at the eastern gate,
Yeah.
where is the sacred kind of entrance to the portal of Avalon. 13 acres, wonderful accommodations and food. And we get to experience the connection that we're going to create. Such an amazing synergy is first formed with the group. So the group actually becomes this one whole energy. And it allows us to really trust and go deep with one another, because we activate connection to the heart center through going up to the tour, and we do the springs and all of that. And then we really embody it. We really take it in, as you did, through a beautiful 2 evenings of heart-centered journey experience, which, if you were to be interested, we would go into it with you one-on-one. But they are these sacred journeys that really have you go deeply into the heart, really deep into connection with self, with one another, with the land. And those experiences is kind of the quantum evolution, support that really supports you to get the most out of the energy of Avalon. So we have 2 of those beautiful sacred evenings. We have a day trip available to Stonehenge, which is about an hour away. So those meridians we were talking about, those ley lines, the Michael and Mary line, they go through Avebury, which is the biggest stone circle in the world, Stonehenge, and then they converge in Glastonbury. And we go to Stonehenge, and I take people to Stonehenge. I didn't last time, but I'm taking them again for those that choose to kind of upgrade for that additional thing. But to really understand what Stonehenge is, to really experience what a portal feels like, and of course Glastonbury is a portal, but this is a different energy. But also to really understand all of the mathematics, all of the sacred alignments, all of the intelligence and the real meaning behind what it was and what it embodies still. So we have a day available to go to half a day available to go to Stonehenge, but we also have a whole day excursion down to St. Nectan's Glen, which is, I don't know, what was your experience of that? Because that was your first time with me.
It was my
Yeah.
first time, and it's just the magic and the awe of pure nature. Like I felt like the green there was different. It was like really green, like
Yeah.
and the waterfall. It was like all the elements together, and then all of a sudden you see this image of like beautiful images and little details, and I was just like, wow, it felt so magical. Like
Yeah,
fairy
it
forest.
is.
That's how it
It's
felt.
fairy forest. I mean, so we go to St. Nectan's Glen, beautiful waterfall. It's known as this goddess waterfall, but it's really a fairy forest, with the moss and these beautiful stones. And It's more of a frequency that I bring people there to. It's just this high joy
Yeah.
frequency and lightness, and everybody's just coming out, just beaming. And we also go to Tintagel, which is the birthplace of where King Arthur is, but mainly I take people there because of the cove, which has a waterfall going into the cove, and it has Merlin's cave, which we will jump the fence if it's not open, to go into Merlin's cave. Everyone will sign up, but it's not a big deal. But it's also the energy of that cove is magical. We had such a beautiful day there on the ocean bluffs. There's no development. It's just this land and ocean and the energy. And Merlin's cave, it said, if you make a wish in Merlin's cave, it will always be granted to you. So we have these beautiful day excursions in addition to this 2 sacred evenings. And of course, you're going to go to the tour to the Red and White Springs, the meditation gardens. It's all included. The Abbey, Glastonbury Abbey is a whole other vortex of energy and meridians. It's the first abbey of its kind in all of Europe and Christendom. So the high street we're going to explore, and it's like no other place you've ever been to. There's no Starbucks on the high street or anything. It's just crystals and great food, vegan foods, and Harry Potter stores and witches and African goddess stores and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to speak into that. I don't know the words you use, but I really felt like it's a direct connection. For me, mysticism is having, and you really taught me that even deeper. Mysticism to me is your own personal direction to source, to the divine within, so that you don't need the card deck, or you don't need like the incense, and you don't need, all these external things that I love, like with my circles and stuff. But it's like, no, you have your own direct personal experience, which we facilitate the space so that you feel safe to, have that connection. But I really want to speak into that the frequency of love is super high there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you just get to plug in, and there's some extra resources, that the plug gets bigger and the stream of love gets bigger. And it's for me, it's also the group, doing it as a community and really heal whatever makes you feel that you don't belong, or whatever comes up in life. Biggest challenge in life is other people. It's never us, it's always other people, right? So get to heal that in community is, I think that's one of the most profound gifts that we didn't even mention yet. Of course, the portal, the ceremony, the cottages, because it's on the most quiet side of Glastonbury.
Mm-hmm.
Just being there is there's a calming energy, because the high street's kind of like very high energy.
Mm-hmm.
And also that I didn't know I was a mystic until I felt it, I experienced it. So you get to it shows you, and you feel who you truly are. And even if you've been on this path for 30 years, but I've been on this path since, 2008. And this is beyond words. It's a personal communication with sacred land. And that is just so magical.
Yeah.
It's just so magical. And I know that there are no words. I said it's beyond words, is a portal of now, but I was like, well, I want us to be a portal of invitation, so that if it is for you, and you do feel like I need something else, and all this, containers you've been in, and it's really haven't brought you to that deeper self, that there is this invitation, or at least, this hello, Avalon exists, and it might be for you.
Well, my question would be, how could it not be for you? how could elevating, activating, you know,
Love.
the heart, and that's just a great question to be with. Like, of course, you don't need that to go to, a space to do that. But there is a synergy that happens when you come to what is known as the heart center of the planet with an intention to activate, to open, to take an evolutionary leap in your life forward. There is a power like no other. And it's very different. It's very different. I've been in the King's Chamber. I had a profound awakening in the King's Chamber in Egypt. But it was all cosmic. And this is cosmic and body, which is
Yeah.
the heart. This is really heaven and earth, beautifully masculine and feminine balanced. Because I do say confidently, this is for everybody. Whether or not you choose to be a yes to that is completely, a whole other thing. But coming back, returning to the heart is for everybody, especially in these times we're living in. And not, of course, we would be on a completely different planet if everyone heeded the call of the heart. But I just, and I get the privilege of serving so many people, and there's no one who's not feeling an intensity on being human on the planet at this time. And how do you navigate? How are you going to set yourself up to move through these times in a way that actually elevates you rather than gets you into just a survival or less than survival mode? It's going to require a leap, an evolutionary leap in consciousness, and we can't access that really on our own as easily. It's very challenging, or it can be kind of lonely. So in doing it, with a group in a place, in a sacred place, is incredibly supportive and profound. And yeah, so many people are feeling contracted. And I understand, I dance with contraction and expansion all the time. That's the nature of the heart, right?
Yeah.
But when we stay locked in contraction, and whatever that contraction looks and feels like to you, some use money to stay contracted. I don't have the money. Where some people say it's not the right time, like they're always in some kind of future world, rather than the portal of now and what you're really feeling and desiring. And some people are, just scared and frozen, and all are understandable. But the time that we're in, it's only going to increase whatever we are being now. Whatever we are being right now, especially March. This March is a whole smorgasbord of astrological events. And I say there is no other time than now to say yes to your evolution, yes to healing, yes to awakening, yes to raising frequency, because if you're in a contracted state that you've been there, that's only going to get even more contracted to where there's no oxygen left, and that's not to like scare. It's just, that's why the time is now. It's for us to show up and to be a yes to ourselves, yes to our rising, yes to receiving, because there's so much available. There's so much available to us if we open and receive it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I've never had anybody say, you know what, I wish I had saved a few $1,000s rather than going. I mean, it's like the investment is still paying off for them. It's still a year, 2 years later. I've been leading people there for years. They're like, many come back. We'll have several returning people just from October coming this year.
It's like, there is this song in the Netherlands about, the way the river flows. It's a song they usually play at funerals, but it's kind of like, saying you were the rock that made the water flow in a different direction. You know, it's a way to honor that
That's
person's life. But I
beautiful.
feel that traveling to Glastonbury is like the rock that made the river flow differently.
Mm,
And I personally, I am really calling in those people who know that it's their energetic frequency that changes the world around them, their families, their communities. You know,
mm,
I'm a woman circle facilitator, and we have really learned that it's just about who you are
mm.
and connecting to that deeper level of being the way that you can on the motherland is just, it's a gift not just to yourself but to everyone who interacts with you. Like I feel like a walking portal after I've been to Glastonbury. I just feel like so
That's
much more love
beautiful.
in
Become a
my.
walking portal
I'm a
of the
walking
heart.
portal, yeah. But it's
Yeah,
just like, you know, I feel like it's just you plug in and you get charged, and then you go around and you share that, right?
yeah, yeah,
And we need a lot of charged people, like heart charged people.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I really.
you saw what happened with our beautiful couples that went there, like
Yeah.
seeing them experience
Mm.
Avalon together, how it transformed their relationship. I mean, yeah,
And not
I
just
can say
theirs, right?
that. Well,
For
certainly,
me,
yeah, the kids
me,
they have and
for everyone who
us.
was
Yeah.
there, who
Hmm.
witnessed it, like for me personally in my marriage, it's like I know what's possible beyond what I'm now experiencing, because I have experienced that in Glastonbury with the couples,
Hmm.
but they're bringing that love, sacred love, back to their children.
Yeah,
And their children are being in all the classrooms and the sports and the whatever they go, or you know, one
that's
couple
it.
is
That's
getting
it.
married, and you
Yeah.
know, that marriage, that party. I want to get invited, by the way. And
Yes,
you know, but
you
it's like
will. It's
you just, all that love just, it's a
how it
ripple effect.
compounds. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So also
Yeah.
for couples, but there were also people who were there for their marriage on their
Yeah.
own, and
Absolutely.
that makes a difference as well.
Absolutely. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Just, it was beautiful to witness one of those couples were together for, I think, over 20 years,
Yeah.
and that they really felt like they rediscovered one another and they really connected to this, initial spark and essence again that they
Yeah.
like. And I know it's transformed, certainly I know it transformed both of them, but like I know it transformed him,
Hmm.
that he's on a whole new path in his professional life now. uh, it's alignment once again,
Yeah.
is going to the heart and creating a vision from the heart, from Avalon, from that way of being, is what then creates this alignment in the external world, professionally, financially, relationally, all of it.
Mm.
And yeah, I see it time and time again, and that's why I'll sing it from the rooftops. Like, don't
Singing right,
deprive yourself, of
singing
that.
right with you.
Yeah.
We should write a song, Aaron.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I personally want to thank you for your commitment, you know, for over the last few decades and the decades to come,
Yes.
and just your, yeah, your stewardship, you know,
Mm.
to just continue to bring us there and hold space and then go back again and again and again. And for whoever who's watching, if you feel this is for you, you can, I have a link where you can see all the information. You can either reach out to Aaron on Facebook Messenger, I think is the most easy to connect with
Yeah.
you, or
Hmm.
connect with me so that we can support you in coming along with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, realign whatever needs to be aligned and receive whatever is yours to receive now.
Yeah. We can hop on a call and you can get more details.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those that are earnestly considering going, absolutely, we would love to connect with you. Yeah.
Yes. And
And
let the mystery unfold.
that's it. And
Yeah.
that's it. So
Thank
sweet.
you. Is there anything that you feel you want to close our first Avalon activation moment with?
Hmm. Yeah. Just how precious each individual really is. Just how precious their heart is. And the invitation is to really just fall deeper in love with self. Really fall deeper in love with self into that knowing of how precious and rare and unique you are. This is Avalon. This is you. This is me. And so shall be.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much for creating this. This was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I'll see you in the next one. If you have any questions or you want to share anything that came up for you,
Yeah.
come into our messenger and be safe and be well. Bye.
Ciao.